want to do anything to scare your children. That's the last thing we want to do. We don't want to scare anybody.
Greetings, my fellow liberals. You know, a lot of us young millennials, like me, sometimes we get into situations where these conservative Nazis, these right-wing pigs, they say things to us and we don't have a good comeback. So I'm going to give you a few good comebacks that'll just shut them down. They will have no logical response. So pay attention, and I'll try to cover the most common things and what you can do and how you can walk away victorious after each confrontation with one of these Nazis. Okay, so first of all, let's just say that you're in a discussion with one of these idiots about race relations, and they say something like, you know, I wasn't here during slavery, and, you know, I have nothing to do with that. That all happened hundreds of years ago, and I wasn't born during the civil rights thing, and, you know, so therefore, you know, you shouldn't call me a racist. How do you respond to that? Simple. You look them straight in the eye and you say, look, somebody you never knew and never met and may not even be slightly related to once owned slaves and mistreated black people. And then you tell them, somebody that I never met, never knew, and might be related to in some weird DNA chain, was the victim of slavery. And so therefore, you're responsible for it. They have no comeback for that. That shuts them down. Trust me, you just use that. And then call them a racist, because that's what they are. Anybody that claims they're not a racist, if they're white, they're a racist. Because remember, they're a racist just because they're white. That automatically makes them, you know, former slaveholders and racist. So if you're discussing any of the protests or like Black Lives Matter and one of these racist white people says to you, all life matters, you never accept that. You just look them straight in the eye and you say, hey, were you ever a slave? And that's a rhetorical question because of course they weren't. And just say, did you ever get stopped by security just because you were white? And of course they're going to be sitting there with their mouth open because they know they never have. And then you just tell them, you cannot say that all life matters, because in reality only black lives matter because we have paid the price. And if you're a white liberal, you just tell them that I self-identify as a black person the majority of the time. So yes, my life matters, the black part of my life, but my white life doesn't matter. And then you just, you know, you just briskly walk away, and you'll leave them there with that look of shock and dismay. They'll have no comeback for that. Trust me. So the next time you're in the grocery store or in a fast food place and you're in line behind one of these white Nazis, just kind of pay attention to what the price is. And when the cashier rings them up, and let's just say that the cashier says, okay, that'll be $11.46. You just lean over and tap the Nazi on the shoulder and say, and with your white privilege, that comes to $11.46. Bam! You nailed him. You nailed him right there. And especially if there's a crowd of people there, you just make them look like shit. That's a good one. If one of these radical conservative Nazis, mostly white, if they somehow try to blame violence on the left, and they say that, oh, it's always the left starting the trouble, and it's the left that's always causing violence, you can find their vehicle, you know, no point in arguing with them. They're stupid. You just slash their tires, and if you have something flammable, you know, maybe you can just burn their car up or something. But, you know, if you don't know where their vehicle is, or if they came on the bus or something, you know, just like smash the nearest window or something, and then maybe yell out, fuck you. And then, you know, it's a good idea to make sure you're within sprinting distance of like a safe space or something, because, you know, sometimes these conservative teabaggers can get pretty violent. So always have your escape plan, you know, well rehearsed. Now, if you happen to be a woman, you know, you've got to always be on your toes, because there's a lot of misogynists that are out there, and they'll try to date you, or they'll try to do things and interact with you that are just an insult to all women. So you always want to make sure you let them know that women are 100% equal to men, and there is no difference at all. And you need to argue that point, except there are some exceptions. if you're on a date and the guy is going to pay for dinner, then you want to make sure you let them pay for dinner because dinners are expensive, and you don't want to waste your money on that. You could be buying like copies of the Anarchist Cookbook and handing them out at preschools and such. But yeah, that, or let's just say that if another guy comes up and tries to like harm you, that's not a good time to be equal. That's a good time to depend on the Nazi that you're with and let him defend you and save your life. And then once you're back in the safe zone and everything's cool and you're fed, you're full, you're safe, then you got to school them on how equal women are to men. And you probably don't have to worry about going on a whole lot of dates. I mean, because I don't know if this is some universal design, but let's face it, most of our women on the left are, for some reason, they're just ass ugly. I don't know what that's all about. But a good example is if you watch like the stations that we watch, like MSNBC and CNN. I mean, these people are right on the money, but let's face it, they look like they fell out of an ugly tree and hit every branch twice on the way down. Slide over to Fox sometimes and listen to what those Nazis are talking about, but take a look at their chicks. My God, they're all tens. Not that that matters, because a woman that is gorgeous is absolutely equal to some big overweight sea hag that's carrying a pro-abortion sign. I mean, I know that, but yeah, just pay attention to your surroundings and make sure that you use your sex identity of the day to work on on your behalf. And last but not least for this quick video is, if you get like some conservatives that try to confuse you with facts and truths, you've got to stand up, and you want to just deflect with as many allegations as possible. You want to start off with the tried and true racist. Call them a racist. That should shut them up. And now if that doesn't work, call them a sexist, a bigot, a misogynist. Just throw this out like machine gun fire, until they stop, throwing facts at you, because facts are uncomfortable. If you have to, if you're putting it into a corner and you got to answer, you got to just explain to them that facts were written by white slave owners, and therefore it makes the facts null and void. Okay, and the reality is dictated by the people who are in charge. And so, we see this all the time. We're like, we wouldn't have gone to the moon without black people. Everybody knows that. I mean, there's a new movie out that shows that. The Apollo program would not have ever literally got off the ground without black people. These ideas have been stoled by the white people for the last 300 years. We all know that black people invented the internet. Black people invented the car. I think Henry Ford murdered somebody, one of the black guys that invented the car, and then he stole the ideas. Black people designed and built all of the cathedrals throughout Europe during the Renaissance and during the medieval times. Black people designed and built the castles. They designed the big cities. It wasn't the white people. The white people just stole the credit for it. And so you've got to stand up to that and make sure that you call those facts fake facts. The same way they call our news fake news, you got to call their facts fake facts. They're not true. And always end it with a good barrage of as many labels as you can throw at a person. That'll shut them down. It always works. I hope this is helpful to you. Give you more examples, but there's a couple of protests I got to go to, so I got to go flip over some cars and things. I'm not sure what we're protesting about, but we just want to make sure that we're out there and that we're on the news. The struggle's real. Stay safe.